Hi, I'm Sylvester Little Jr., and welcome to Bytes, the show that gives you an in-depth look at what's happening on the Purdue campus. It's been 43 years since Purdue graduate Eugene Cernan left the last boot print on the surface of the moon. As NASA sets its sights beyond the moon, researchers on Earth are beginning to investigate what it would take to send a manned mission to Mars. Recently, a Purdue doctoral student participated in one of these unique research projects.
8 months of an unchanging landscape. There's little evidence of any civilization, no animal life, plant life. So up there, it's an ideal location to pretend like you're on Mars. Pisces is the Hawaii space exploration analog and simulation. There on Mauna Loa, a volcano on the Big Island of Hawaii, they put crews of astronaut-like individuals to see how they fare with the psychological and social challenge of being isolated and confined in such an extreme situation for a long duration, as if they were on Mars. I signed up for the Pisces program. It just really spoke to my interests. I'm an aerospace engineer and a biomedical engineer, and I've always been interested in how to keep astronauts healthy and thriving in such an extreme environment. I would say for the most part we were a really good group and we fit together well. There were some issues that needed to be addressed over time, but we tried to really address them as soon as possible and not let them fester over the long duration of 8 months. We arrived in Hawaii for a couple of weeks of training, and then we're sent to Mars. I went in October of 2014 and came out in June 2015. So an 8-month mission. I almost relished in the idea of being away from everyone for 8 months so that I could focus on my research and have this really honest and observable perspective of myself and my capabilities, and to be away from everything and really see who I am and what I like to do and how I interact with others in this limited environment. We had a small habitat, about 1,000 square feet, so a modest 1 to 2 bedroom apartment shared with 6 others for this long duration of 8 months. One of the challenges of being in such close proximity is having alone time. You never can be alone truly. Even in our small private quarters, we had rooms with very thin walls, so there was no soundproofing available. You could always hear what was going on. On the mission, I was the chief scientist, so my primary objective was to communicate with the other researchers all around the U.S. and make sure that we were performing and facilitating their work and providing all of the data. Many of the studies were questionnaire-based to ask us about how we were feeling and experiencing the environment, but we also had a lot of different instrumentation in the hab, so cameras that were watching our activities, sociometer badges that we would wear around our necks that measure the proximity to one another and the volume of the production of our voice so they could see who's hanging out with who and how that evolves over time. In the habitat, our typical day would start out kind of like on Earth, have some coffee and breakfast, ask each other how we slept, or look at our data from our wristbands and see quantitative information on our sleep. Then from there, we might prepare for an EVA. This is probably my favorite part of the missions. Going out in the mock spacesuits and charting out the volcanic terrain, exploring some of the lava tubes that are cave-like structures. And then in the afternoon, we would actually spend a lot of time doing energy-intensive things when the sun was out, so maybe cooking or using the treadmill. We would come together for dinner and maybe do some social activities, play board games or watch a movie or just get back to our research oftentimes. And throughout this whole time, we're doing surveys, explaining how we feel, monitoring our interactions. We'd have to check in and say, how was our most recent interaction? Was it frustrating? Was it satisfying? Was it helpful? We missed a lot of holidays. Starting in October, we had Halloween, and Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and New Year's. The list just goes on. And also I missed my sister's wedding, which is really difficult. One of the moments where I actually had a bit of privacy was the crew was really understanding about how I needed to make a private video for my sister, a toast to her and her husband on their wedding day. It's definitely one of the worst things about the mission is missing your special day. I raise this glass to you, Kayla, my little sister, my brother-in-law Lee, and your precious daughter, Mara.
3, 2, 1, and 0, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis.
I think I saw my first space shuttle launch when I was about 5 years old, and from then on I was just kind of mesmerized by the whole idea. Here at Purdue, I'm in my final year of PhD studies in the School of Industrial Engineering. I studied data-driven health monitoring, so I was able to collect data while I was there on the mission, and I'm investigating the concept of stress and what it means for the performance of athletes and astronauts. It's been confirmed over the years, my love of research and pursuing knowledge and discovery in science and engineering, that I really want to be contributing to the space program one way or another. Well, I'm currently applying to be an astronaut. There's the call for the 2016 class. That'd be a dream, obviously. Besides that, I'm looking to continue my research in academia. I really enjoyed being able to be confined with so many other talented scientists and engineers who have such similar interests, and that was a rewarding experience in itself. And to test myself in this confined environment and see if I have what it takes to maybe be an astronaut someday.
If Jocelyn is selected to be an astronaut, she will continue a rich Purdue tradition that's already produced 23 astronauts, the most of any public institution. That wraps up another Boiler Bytes. Check us out online at boilerbytes.com. See you next time.